The Galactic Council's chamber fell silent as the massive doors slid open with a mechanical hiss. Ambassador Zexathara of the Vorthak Empire adjusted her ceremonial robes, her 4 eyes narrowing as she watched the approaching figure. Behind him, a procession that defied all logic and reason followed. Representatives from every major species in the galaxy, walking in perfect formation. Marcus Chen stepped into the chamber with the same calm confidence he'd possessed 20 years ago when they'd exiled him. His hair had grayed at the temples and new scars marked his weathered face, but his eyes held something that made even the most seasoned diplomats shift uncomfortably in their seats. "Impossible," whispered Counselor Vexstar, his crystalline form refracting the chamber's light. "We sent him to the void sectors. No one returns from there." Ambassador Zexathara rose from her seat, her voice carrying across the vast chamber. "Human Marcus Chen, you stand before this council in violation of your exile. You were sentenced to the void sectors for your aggressive diplomatic methods. How do you explain your presence here?" Marcus smiled, the expression somehow both warm and terrifying. "I explain it quite simply, Ambassador. You wanted me gone because I suggested that humanity deserved a seat on this council. You thought exile would break me, teach me humility." He gestured to the diverse group behind him. "Instead, it taught me something far more valuable." The procession behind him stepped forward in unison. There was Cathara, the insectoid queen of the hive worlds, her mandibles clicking in what those familiar with her species recognized as deep respect. Beside her stood General Thok of the warrior Krellian hegemony, his massive frame adorned with battle honors. Even more shocking was the presence of the ethereal Luminar High Priest, beings who hadn't set foot in council chambers for over 3 centuries. "This is preposterous," Counselor Mextar slammed his appendage against his desk. "What trickery is this, human?" "No trickery," Marcus replied calmly. "You see, when you exile someone to the void sectors, you assume they'll encounter nothing but pirates, scavengers, and the desperate. You forget that many species send their own exiles there. They're dissidents, they're free thinkers, they're revolutionaries." Queen Cathara stepped forward, her translator rendering her clicks into galactic standard. "The human Marcus Chen found my daughter when she had been kidnapped by Xerion slavers. He returned her to me, asking for nothing in return. When I offered him a fleet, he asked instead for a conversation." General Thok's gravelly voice echoed through the chamber. "He stood alone against a Ravager pack to protect a Krellian colony ship. Our warriors sang songs of his courage for months. When we offered him our strength, he asked instead for our friendship." The High Priest's melodious tones seemed to resonate from everywhere at once. In the depths of the void, where light itself struggles to exist, the human brought illumination, not through force, but through understanding. Where others saw enemies, he saw potential allies. Ambassador Zexathara felt a chill run through her exoskeleton. "What are you saying?" Marcus took another step forward. "I'm saying that in your wisdom, you sent me to exactly where I needed to be. You see, the void sectors aren't the wasteland you believe them to be. They're where the galaxy sends its misfits, its rebels, its free spirits. And humans, as it turns out, have a talent for finding common ground with misfits." Behind him, more figures emerged from the shadows. The cybernetic collective of the Nexus Union, who hadn't spoken to biological life in decades. The nomadic stellar wanderers, whose ships had roamed the galaxy for millennia without permanent alliance. The mysterious void-touched, beings so alien that most species couldn't even perceive them properly. 20 years, Marcus continued, his voice growing stronger. 20 years of building bridges, not burning them. 20 years of proving that strength doesn't come from dominance but from unity. You wanted to punish humanity by removing our voice from galactic affairs. Instead, you gave us the opportunity to find our true calling. Counselor Vexstar's crystalline form pulsed with agitation. "This changes nothing. The Council's decision stands." "Actually," came a new voice from the chamber's entrance, "it doesn't." Every head turned as Chancellor Mordun, the Council's highest authority, entered flanked by his personal guard. His ancient features bore an expression of resigned wisdom. "I've been monitoring the communications from the void sectors," the Chancellor announced. "Trade has increased by 400%. Piracy has virtually ceased. Conflicts that had raged for centuries have been resolved through mediation, and all of it traces back to a single human who was supposed to disappear into obscurity." Marcus bowed respectfully. "Chancellor, I return not as a convicted exile but as an ambassador of the Void Sector Alliance, a coalition of 37 species and over 200 independent systems. We come bearing a proposal, which is full membership in the Galactic Council, with voting rights proportional to our population and resources. In return, we offer our expertise in conflict resolution, our trade networks, and our protection services." Marcus's smile grew wider. "You'll find our terms quite reasonable." The chamber erupted in chaos as council members shouted over each other. But Marcus noticed something else. The Chancellor was smiling. "Tell me, Marcus Chen," Chancellor Morden said when the noise subsided. "What makes you think we'll agree to this?" Marcus gestured to his companions. "Because, Chancellor, we're not asking. We're informing. The Void Sector Alliance now controls the galaxy's primary trade routes, mediates conflicts between your member species, and has defensive pacts with systems you've never even heard of. You can either welcome us as partners or find yourselves increasingly irrelevant in galactic affairs." The silence that followed was deafening. "Besides," Marcus added with characteristic human audacity, "I think you'll find we've already proven that punishment has a way of backfiring when you apply it to humans. We have this peculiar habit of turning exile into opportunity, isolation into alliance, and defeat into victory." Queen Cathara's mandibles clicked in what sounded almost like laughter. "The human speaks truth. We have seen it ourselves." Chancellor Morden stood slowly, his ancient joints creaking. "Very well. The Council will hear your formal proposal. But I warn you, Marcus Chen, this time, if you fail, there will be no exile. No second chances." Marcus Chen, former exile, current architect of the largest alliance in galactic history, simply nodded. "Chancellor, with respect, humans don't need second chances. We just need to be underestimated long enough to prove everyone wrong." As the chamber filled with the nervous chatter of representatives realizing their universe had just fundamentally changed, Marcus couldn't help but think that 20 years ago, the Council had made the best mistake of their lives. They had sent a human into the darkness, expecting him to disappear. Instead, he had returned with the light of 1,000 worlds at his back.